friendly faces, heavenly places, they seem to call to me. If ever I should go, I will return to.
Aloha, everybody. You know, excuse me, I'm going to take off my mask if you don't mind. Here we are in nature, and earlier this morning we already sanitized at Juvatex. You know, this is one of my favorites. We took our temperature already, and we have everything, the Lysol, because we have to be really mindful in what's going on with this pandemic time here in our beautiful Hawaii. And while you are with me, I'm just so excited that I have with me Dr. Loretta Chen. You know, I've met her a couple of years ago. We were working on a community event for Waipahu, and she brought in all of her great students that we relived history, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. But this beautiful woman, I mean, she inspired me. I have so much to learn from her. You have no idea. She's bubbly, she's down to earth, she's a no-nonsense person. We're going to go into raw honesty. She's going to share with you her wealth of being so multi-talented and why she share all of her greatness to the children, to the young adults, to the people of Hawaii. And I say Hawaii, I mean, she travels from Hawaii Kai all the way down to Wai'anae because she truly believes in what she loves doing the most. You know, I've talked about aloha. This lady exudes aloha. She is truly the epitome of aloha. Because we always said aloha is an action. And boy, does she show you a lot of action. She's a filmmaker. She wrote 3 phenomenal books, working on the 4th one. Also teaches drama. I mean, she's the queen of drama. Trust me. She keeps me giggling and laughing all the time. And she's just so talented. And the most beautiful part of it all, she's down to earth. So ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you Dr. Loretta Chen. But before I say any of that, I'm going to, come on, yay!
This is where I do my unveiling.
Yay!
Oh, that's how she looks like.
Yay!
Hi, everybody.
But you know, I was in Singapore, and Singapore is so beautiful. I couldn't even chew gum in Singapore. You know, they're clean, the people are no nonsense, they're very ambitious, very kind. I love the open markets, I love the shopping. Well, those days were pretty inexpensive, but today it's not, because it's like Disneyland on steroids. I mean, they're just so amazing. The buildings, I mean, they're competitive in a sense where they have this drive, you know. You know, Doctor, you came from a wonderful, loving family. You have 2 older brothers that loved and nurtured you. And you're like the baby doll. And you're the baby girl out of, you know, the 2 brothers and yourself. You come from a family, are all movie stars, really accomplished. And yet, going back to your parents, you know, they were humble, hard-working. Will you share, please?
Auntie, this is one of the most wonderful openings I've ever had. Like, you know, one of the reasons why I don't even wear mascara is because I tear easily because I'm so moved so easily. And your opening just now, I was like trying to hold back my tears because I think you got to the crux of who we are as we call it, the Chen clan or the Chen family.
Yes.
I think our humility really and sense of community really starts from my dad, because he had a very humble beginnings. His dad, you know, passed away young, and so he was the oldest, unlike me, right? I'm spoiled. He had to take care of the family, and they ran a little coffee shop. They called it a kopitiam. But he married my mother, and my mother came from more money, right? So already you can tell back then there was that disparity, you know. So I think my father always had that sense of he had to work really hard to provide for the woman he loves, because she came from money, right? And so I think, you know, if I had to sum it up in a nutshell, I will say that my attitude and my confidence and you know take a bull by its horns, that attitude came from my mom. But that sense of community, humility, service, quiet, just gentle ways of being came from my father. Because you know, even when I was growing up, Auntie, I could tell the difference. I'll go to my dad's side. Okay, let's talk about that. Go to my mom's side, a little bit more shishi, came from a little bit more money. You know, and like, oh, I got hotel. You know, this, that. And so like it was different. And I go to my dad's side, more humble, but everyone was just more, you know, together. That sense of what you call here ohana. So even from a really young age, I was very effectively bilingual, not just in language, even though I can speak more than just one language. I speak English and Mandarin, but it's very bilingual in the sense that I understood the have it and the have nots.
Yeah.
And I understood that you know, there are no worlds that are perfect, but it's what you made of it, and the families and the ties that you connected. And I knew that at a really young age. Yeah, so.
And that's the reason why you're so giving and so ambitious, because you had that balance
Yes.
in life, don't you think?
Yes, yes, that sense of, and I think it's just in Singapore too. I think not many countries had a chance to remodel themselves, you know, all over again. Singapore became an independent country, or rather, I won't go into too much detail, but we were orphaned in 1965 because we were literally kicked out of the Federation of Malaya. A lot of people think we became independent, but we were kicked out. So I think because of that, our late Prime Minister, whom I had opportunities to chat with, always imbued in all of us Singaporeans from the 60s, you know, a sense of resilience. Talk about resilience
That's
now in
true.
COVID. It's not even just resilience, but a sense of what I call the anti-fragile, that what doesn't kill you makes you even stronger.
Yes.
So, like, Singaporeans were imbued in that. The government invested in us in terms of education, in terms of just getting us to learn more than one skill. So I think as a society, we were built that way. Then in my own family too, because my father was that hard worker, worked really hard to put food on the table. Like I said, you know, he had to ensure that he fed my mother well because she was well fed. And just seeing how hard he worked, and literally he'll come home after a hard day's of work. My father would eat a lot of rice. Yes, I think he ate it because he loved it, but I think he really ate it because he wanted us, the children, to eat the meat. You know, so the drumstick, the fish, the pomfret, the fillet was always for the children, and he was always eating rice. That's what I noticed. So I got that sense that, you know,
That's why you're kind-hearted.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why you're the giver.
Yes, because I saw how hard my father worked. And then, you know, so I think he always imbued in us a sense of gratitude and serving the community. It was very big for him. If he had $2, he would give all two. Yeah, so that's where I definitely got it from.
Ah, you're making me tear.
Oh, good. That's the whole point.
Yeah, because my father was amazing too. We've come from great men,
Yeah.
you know, that served, and that is so important. And that's the reason why I look up to great men that not ashamed to serve
Yes.
and to be humble
Yes.
and everything else.
Yeah.
Now you have a wealth of traveling. You've
Yes.
traveled many places. Looking at you and speaking with you and having an opportunity of working with you with the Waipahu community, when I first heard your voice, you're very Eurasian, you know, because you've traveled through Europe. You know, and your brothers in the movies,
Right.
you know, they now with the mask, people still
Yeah.
still notice them, but it gives them the freedom to go out and
That's right.
still
I mean,
enjoy.
I was sharing with Angie about the funny stories about pandemic. I mean, there are a lot of things to be really upset about in the pandemic, but one of the things that we laugh about as a family is that my family can actually finally go out because they don't get mobbed because they wear the mask. But they still get mobbed, you know, but it's trying to find some humor in these sad times. But yeah, they can finally go out in public as a family and not get mobbed. So
You know,
that's a bit of
what I
humor.
like about in life, that no matter where you come from, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, you will achieve. Now, you say you had this great balance in your family. Your mother came from money. Your father worked hard to, you know, to give her all the fine things in life.
Right.
And that was a great example for the three of you growing up. And you were that kick. Pardon the pun. Yeah, person. And you go get them, no scare them kind of girl.
Yes.
You know, you traveled, you got on the plane and went, and you didn't even look back. And I know that in the film industry, writing books, all the things that you've done, it was very competitive in a man's world. You want to share a little bit about
Angie,
that?
Absolutely. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've been put down. That, you know, because I was very thankful that I was one of those, I was probably the second or third batch of theatre study students. So back then already, it's very rare for people to want to pursue an education in the arts, much less a career. But remember, I had my brothers who were also, you know, key players in the industry. So I looked up to my brother Edmund and his wife Xiang Yun, both now still top actors, and my second brother who was also a producer and entrepreneur. So I looked up to them, and I knew that it was possible to create a career in the arts, even if it's tough. And so when I chose to read the theatre, it was, you know, literally I'll hop into a taxi, you know. The uncle will say, ni tu sama, like, what are you studying? Then I'll say theatre. And he say, what is that? You know. Then I'll say English. Then he'll be like, what is that? How come don't do law or business or medicine? You know. So there was like that sort of concept, like, oh, if you don't do law or medicine, then how? But I think that sense of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that sense of wanting to prove, especially when I was younger, like I needed to prove to you that this is not a wrong choice. I'm not being silly, that I could make a career out of it. and then later on, I became one of the first few female directors. 'Cause remember, we were a young nation, right? In
Yes.
1965. So when I came out to the industry, it was probably like in the late 90s. I was one of the first few female directors, and I would stage really interesting, controversial things that looked into sexism, ageism, homophobia, because the kind of social things that I love to look into. And I remember one incident, and since I'm in Hawaii now, I still won't name names because I'm a very polite girl, but I remember this gentleman coming to me. It was on the day of the opening of our big show. It was sold out. It's called 251. You can Google it in the paper. It's called 251. And I remember him coming to me as a tall guy, and I'm fairly tall. He's a tall gentleman, and he talked down to me like that. He was talking down to me like, how dare you do this? No. He put me in front of the reporters and the journalists that were there. And because I was doing a controversial play on this lady called Annabelle Chong. Anyway, the backstory, I won't go into much detail, you can Google that. But the point is, the play is not staged overnight. They had months to review this play that I was doing. So if at any point you were unhappy with what I was doing, you could have come tell me early. But I think it's a little bit like power play, because as a young Asian female, that he could barge in and poo-poo me like that. I don't think he would have done that if I was a guy. I actually don't. But it was interesting because there were reporters in the room. Guess what? The reporters reported, and the play got even more coverage.
Yes.
You know, but my point is, there were lots of sexism issues like that. And to be fair, we celebrate the men in the start of our program. Not all, the sexism doesn't just, it's not always perpetuated by men. I remember my first job as a professor in Polytechnic in Singapore. Again, I don't want to name names, right? Because I am still Singaporean, a proud Singaporean. And my first boss, she is female. And she would put me down. And because, you know, I was so well liked and like, you know, I would get great reviews. I remember her telling me in her civil servant voice, like, oh, Loretta, you know, teaching is not a popularity contest. You know, you don't have to just be nice to your students just to get good reviews. But I don't blame you. I think you're very fake. But I don't blame you. I think you're the product of your family, your friends, and your upbringing. And I was thinking, I'm like 24, 5-year-olds. I'm like, why? You don't know my family. They're so kind. Like, I remember I was so young. I was like wanting to cry, but I was there. I was like, I don't understand what she's saying. But it was really hurtful because she was talking about my family. And I was like, I didn't understand. And I went back, because that time we had a shared office. And then my other partner in the office is a lady that reminds me of you. No, truly, her name is Lily. You guys have the same vibe. So I went in, Lily, this is what so-and-so told about me. And she said, and she told me, those were unkind. That's very personal. What she said is, it's not constructive. That was not a constructive feedback. But you know, at 20-something, you doubt yourself. I was like, in tears. And she said, it's probably because she's jealous.
Wait a minute, but you just took the word. I was just going to tell you that. Jealousy is the highest compliment you can get. And you know what? I'll be right back. Woo, aloha, we have 4 winners, and I'm so excited because these are the great gifts that we're going to give away. So we do have the winners of Iwalani Bell, Darnett Souza, Kathy Lebason, and Megumi Haley. And I hope I announced your names right. So I'm going to say it again. Megumi Haley, Kathy Lebason, Iwalani Bell, and Darnett Souza. We're going to contact you, and I'm so excited, and these are the great gifts. And for next week, I have a wonderful blessing. Yes, you are. And we've had so many remarks about people wanting to have you bless their home, their property, their baby, their life, all the things that you do. And you are so lovingly agreed that you'll come back and give away.
I will do a giveaway.
Yes.
In the Mo'olelo, the story I shared with you, it was how I got my voice to be, truthfully speaking. And with that came the gifts that I've had since I was a little girl in my channel. I have used those gifts to connect with guides. So throughout the years, I have, now that I'm retired DOE, I have a website, Ancestral Blessings, and please feel free to view it because I do different kinds of lessons.
Yes, you do.
I do Malo Aloha, which are weddings, and I work with you to design a Hawaiian wedding, mixed however you would like to have it. I have Ho'ola'apono Hale, which is blessing and clearing a building, your home, property, and a lot of that I have gone around the world.
Oh,
to
yes,
do,
you have.
because we do a lot of land gridding, and so I do that also. I also do Ho'ola'akino or Ohana. That's an individual blessing if you're troubled, or not troubled. You might just want an extra blessing, or the Ohana. Many times I'm called in to do several kinds of ho'oponopono to see what the problem is. And ho'ola'a, bring light, make right.
Yes.
So if you are one of the winners, you get to choose which one you would like.
Woohoo!
A malo aloha, which is a wedding. A ho'ola'apono hale, which is a clearing a blessing of your home or business. Or ho'ola'akino, or ohana, which is a specific blessing for you. And again, if you read my website, I connect with your guides. And that's how we make and show the way how you can make the choices you need to do to make the decisions you make to do so that you can live a life of hono.
Nice. Thank you for your generosity, sister. Thank you for coming back. I mean, you've been with me from the beginning. I just want to say mahalo, aloha, and thank you to all of you that want to make a difference. Until then, don't forget, write your comments. You not only put in like, you have to write your comments. Let us know where you're from. We've even had visitors from Israel and Philippines and California say, hi, I'm from California, and blah, 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 blah. It's so nice to know these people from around the world.
Yes,
Again,
very
have a
nice.
blessed life. Until we meet again, aloha.
Aloha.
Please remember, we have amazing giveaways. So you need to write a comment, not just put like. You need to write a comment, at least a couple of sentences. What was your best part of the show? Did you like my hair, my lipstick, the products? What do you like? Or you don't like? You don't like my hair, my lipstick? It doesn't matter. Write something so I get a chance to get to know you. We also have the Women Warriors Foundation page that I need for you to like it and be also one of our wonderful people that is watching. I don't know if you're watching unless you let me know, okay? So please follow us. We're always on at 4 o'clock every Sunday. We want you to like, we want you to write if you want to win a prize. If you don't want to win a prize, but that's okay. You can be a stalker and just watch. Mwah. I'm going to continue to move forward with this wonderful, exciting woman that I've had the opportunity of working with before. And I'm going to really dig deep with her, and I'm going to ask her about, you know, her relationships and what brought her to Hawaii and so many other things. But, you know, I'm going to have to bring her back many, many times because she has a wealth of stories to share, and she has blessed me to just be here today. She's been here before, and we had other projects we said we're going to work on.
Oh, yes. We'll commit to you. Yeah, I got to get you to commit to. Yes,
so
absolutely.
let us go way back when you were a young girl. You left Singapore. You went to UCLA. And then what happened from there?
Yeah, so after Singapore, I got a scholarship to read my master's in University of London, and then got a scholarship to read my PhD in UCLA. And, you know, top scholar, top of the world, feeling great, had my little, you know, banged up little sports car, living in Mulholland Drive,
Wow.
rented a little place, like top of the world, met and fell in love. My first love, her name is Grace McDougall. But long story short, she suffered from depression. And so that's why I'm such a big mental health advocate. I saw her suffer from very serious depression. Obviously, it's never just brought about by one thing. You know, there was familial abuse, there was sexual abuse, there was a lot of violence in her growing up. And through her, I recognized how I was quite different because I was raised with so much love. So I think in many ways, I felt like I wanted to save Grace. But I think the best analogy I can give is depression is like cancer of the mind, right? Where it just eats up your mind and your soul. And I saw her deteriorate in a really short period of time, culminating in her suicide. There's actually a longer story to that, which is, you know, in my book.
And she's done 4 books and working on the 5th, okay?
Yes, and I actually wrote about that story here. But the point that I'm trying to make is I think Grace's death changed me so fundamentally, because here I was 24 at the top of the world, going to be a scholar, was about to be assistant professor at UCLA. I thought that was my life. But her death really made me reassess, like, what is life? And it made me think, did I deserve all of this? And I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. But like
Yes.
Siddhartha, you know, who is like Gautama Buddha, Siddhartha, he went on a journey. He saw what we call in Mandarin 生老病死, birth, old age, disease, and death. And he saw that as a young boy growing up. And he said, what is that? He didn't understand because his father protected him. So when he saw that, he said, I need to understand that. So like Siddhartha, I felt I had to go on this journey after Grace's death to understand. And one of the first places I went, you know, you're young and broke and just 2 years ago, right? I didn't have a lot of money. So I went to Cambodia and I volunteered with sex traffic workers.
Yes.
And these girls were between the ages of 8 to 18. Some of them are younger because they're the daughters of the sex traffic workers. And I remember that I did drama therapy with them, thinking that I'm there to heal them, Auntie, but they healed me. And I'll tell you why. So I had my Khmer, they spoke Khmer, Cambodian language, they spoke Khmer. And you know, when I first met these young girls, their bodies were so stiff and tense, but it's because they don't trust anybody. But gradually, I won them over, we played games, we did drama therapy. I remember one of our sessions, I asked them, okay girls, so what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? And so guess what some of the answers were, Auntie?
Free. I don't know. What was it?
So that's what I thought. I thought they would say, I want to be free, I want to be a princess. And they said, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse. So my follow-up question, why do you want to do that? And in chorus, they said, because they want to save the world. So let's just take a pause there, Auntie. These are girls who are 8 to 18, some are younger, beaten, abused, raped, abducted, sold into sexual slavery, made to do the most hideous things. And they had the audacity of hope. They dared to hope for a better world. They wanted our world to be better. And at that moment, I had this questioning. I said, here I am feeling broken, that my partner has passed away, feeling sorry for myself. And I looked at these girls and they didn't feel sorry for themselves. In fact, they wanted to do more for us. And so then I make a pact with myself. I said that, you know, I told myself that my ability to choose is built on the backs of these boys and girls and young men and young women that will never have the ability to choose. So if I ever had the ability to choose, I will make sure I make responsible choices. Not to say I don't make mistakes. I make mistakes every single day.
do.
Every single day I, you know, mess up. But I tell myself that I will take responsibility for that. And so that is what I fundamentally brought back to me, in me, from Cambodia. And it's a lesson that is so ingrained in me. That's my philosophy, that I'll never allow myself to feel inferior without my consent. I'll not allow anyone else to make me feel inferior, that I have agency. And that for every breathing, living day of my life, if I can, I'm going to make someone else feel better, do better, live better. Because it's a choice. Because there's so many people who will never get a choice. Right?
So this would encourage you in Bhutan with all this volunteering work
Yes.
that you did.
Yes, because I realized there really is more to life than just this accumulation of wealth and successes and titles. And you know, they're important. They're one aspect of life and one aspect of success and one aspect of growth. But another aspect is also that sense of spirituality, of depth and giving back to society. And that is so rich, and that's really enriched my life. And so in 2012, when I was asked to serve in Bhutan, to become the international consultant to the government of Bhutan, I relished it. And it changed my life because there is a sense of humility and groundedness in the people. When you live in a society that believes in gross national happiness, there's so many parallels with aloha, where the king and the government believes that the only measure of success cannot be gross domestic product, which is how America and the rest of the world does it. It's all about consumerism, progress, make more money, GDP, progress, but at what cost? Today we talk about sustainability. Today with COVID, we're all awoken and we talk about sustainability, healing the planet. But Bhutan has already done it forever. And here they are, a small kingdom in the Himalayan plains, showing us the light, that the way to living is not just about making more, doing more, taking more from Mother Earth, but giving back. They are the world's only carbon negative country. Wow. And it seeps into all the people. And I think that too was my other turning point in life, and deciding, I think I need a change from my, you know, executive creative director life in Singapore, which led me to my next chapter here in Hawaii.
Yay! And because of that and all your aloha that you do, and you know, with what surrounds you, you know, the
thank
lei
you,
always
Auntie.
comes circled. You know, lei is gifted in so many ways, but Singapore, known for their beautiful orchids as well. So this is from for me to bless. And this is from Yoni that I call him lovingly, but it's Jonathan, who's a producer of our show, and just want to embrace you for even coming out. So please, I cannot hug you and kiss you. I can present it to you. And
But
do
you put around my
oh,
head.
Okay. I love you. And please know, I mean, that we are so honored that you are here and to listen to your story. And so many people out there are going to benefit from this because that you're a no-nonsense person. And we need that. We need strong women. That what you do from all the way from Hawai'i, Leeward College, going out to Wai'anae, doing your books and knowing that all your 4 books, working on the 5th, that your proceeds go to help your students. I mean, you don't even take a dime from it. You do all of this, and you worked with fabulous actors and actresses and produced all these shows and was a keynote speaker for huge conventions. Share with me more, please. That
I think I've been really blessed in that, and that I really have to thank my mother, who always told me that anything that I dreamed of, I can do. And because of that, I think I was always just imbued with this strong sense of confidence. If I thought it, then I could do it. So I think I also have to give credence to a lot of people who saw something in me, and it started with me doing debating clubs when I was younger, and then going on to hosting shows. And I started even hosting at the World City Summit. In fact, yesterday I was talking to the executive director of the Hawaii Green Growth, and she was talking about how she's visited Singapore and been at the World City Summit. I said, I was the master of ceremony. I mean, just things like that, all the world comes around again.
you had your own radio show.
I had my own radio show called The Art of Lush.
Yes.
The Art of Lush with Loretta Chen. Put on my radio DJ voice.
Woohoo!
But and so these are all the things that I think I've been so blessed to have been able to do. And one of this year, in fact, before BC, in the BC ages, before Corona, in the BC ages, in January, I was invited by the Association of College and Technical Education, ACT, their huge convention in the Hawaii Convention Center. I was the keynote speaker talking about the future of education. And in many ways, my actually keynote sort of set the tone for a virtual education, without even recognizing what was going to hit us 2 months later. But to your point, I think I've been really thankful for having been able to create, connect, communicate. If people look at my CV, then they think that it seems so eclectic, and how can she do this all? But I always say, Auntie, I only do 3 things, and I do 3 things well. I create, I connect, I communicate, except that it takes a variety of forms, whether it's the radio, whether it's film, the theater, in the classroom, or writing books, or consulting. It really is about creating connections, right? Just as you are. I mean, you create, connect, right?
Oh, no, but you're phenomenal. I don't even know when you sleep. Do you ever sleep? I mean, because you're always doing something, yeah? And they have this woman on top. I love it because you travel the world. You've talked to a majority of women all around the world, learning about their values, learning about what's going on in here and working things out. Yeah. I mean, the other one, yes? What about this one?
Yeah, this is about a social entrepreneur in Singapore. She's a dear friend of mine, and she too, created many social enterprises to help other people. So that's why I wanted to write her story. And then Madonnas and Mavericks, I wrote on 17 power women in Singapore, including our president, our current president, Halimah Yacob. And then the current one is Inspiring Women of Hawaii. I wish I knew you earlier, Auntie. You gotta be. We need to have book 2.
Oh, yes, and you also interviewed Obama. I mean, you had so many things going on. I mean, you just a wealth of people that surrounded you, things that you've done, movie stars, filmmaker, doing books. When do you stop? What? And you're a mommy.
Yes.
You're a mommy of 9 beautiful cats and 1 stray that you feed, right?
Yeah, I'm a fur mummy. Yeah, that's right. They bring me so much joy. Every morning you can hear the pitter-patter of the paws.
So wonderful. Wonderful of all these great things that you do. And with all of that, I will be right back. You know, Dr. Loretta Chen got so many gifts. She gave up everything. She's toured all of Europe, Asia, been with the best movie stars, had her own radio station, and she walked away to come to our beautiful Hawai'i. Would you share with that, please? I know I'm...
No, Angie, you know, the way you put it, you make me feel like I walked away from all that. I think I walked into all
Ah, thank you.
No, it's true. It's true. It really is. I think I've grown so much being here. You know, when I first got here, I was still wearing my matchy, got sometimes the Chanel bag and all that. My husband said, you gotta drop all that. And I remember the first time I felt, I think I'm beginning to feel like a Hawaii girl. I wore flip-flops and it was a big thing for me. Like when I'm now wearing my sandals, but I remember thinking, oh, this is so liberating, you know, to not have to do that. But to your point, I think that, you know, I think when you asked me earlier about Grace, you know, I didn't think about this, but, you know, Grace is actually a Hawaii girl.
Really?
Yeah, I think she was born and raised in Waianae, and then she went off to California, where she lived the rest of her life. But I think there's something about the air and the spirit here, and I think I was brought back here for a reason. And it was not until a couple of days ago when I was driving down, you know, to Waianae, and it just hit me. I think I was brought back here because of Grace, like it's unfinished business. And so when I came here, I knew that there was something that I had to do. And I remember when I first told my chair, whom I adore and respect, Mr. Jim West in Leeward, and I said, I want to go teach out in Waianae. He said, really? Because he was concerned because, you know, I was in Hawai'i. And I said, no, I really want to. And we created this theater department there. And more than anything else, it's not just about, as you know, performing arts is not just about acting, singing, dancing. It's about finding your voice, your identity, connecting with, you know, all of you and just being able to create dialogue, you know, communicating with the community. And once I started getting my students, initially they're all shy, like, no, shame, I cannot speak, you know, but once they started speaking and feeling connected to each other, the stories they came out, Auntie, are just so heartwarming. So, I mean, I'll say that I've just been so humbled and proud to have been able to start this program in Waianae Moku, and I really hope to be able to do more and maybe even bring the students here when we can.
Of course.
Things in the healing garden.
Well, you always said, and you said earlier, and what I truly believe, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, you will achieve. And you're a perfect product of that. And that's the reason why you exude all this confidence. So when you talk to your students, they feel that. And they look at you and say, shucks, she did it, I can too. You know, and that's the gift that you have that you brought here to the islands, and that is so important. And I thank you for being and wearing that lei of your life is in full circle now, don't you believe?
It is full circle. And talking about that, you know, I was just sharing with you that I was going to work on my 5th book. That's called Mothers, right, which is on Invisible Mummies. Having said that, I'm really excited to work on my 6th book. Which is, I'm looking at you. This is my turn now to put you on the line.
Turned me out of the bus.
Oh yeah, right? So let's talk about you now, Auntie. You have this wonderful idea for a book. Why don't you want to share with us about this?
It's been 15 years. I mean, you've been popping up books every year. It's been 15 years that I've documented, you know, wonderful women, matriarchs of Hawaii, historians, when I was going through my bout with cancer. And when I gave the first call, 200 of them showed up, not knowing that I said, you're going to bear of yourselves. And without a heartbeat, boom, they took their tops off and says, what do you want from us? And it is beautiful pictorials that I've had from wonderful women that shared their most prized jewel is their body. For the sake of cancer and sisterhood and respectful woman to woman. And every time I look at those pictures, it just brings tears to my eyes because it means so much to me. But like a book, I needed money because I do want to do a coffee table book to present to hospitals here, to the libraries here, to top oncologists here. So while you're sitting and waiting, you say, oh my gosh, look at these women. And it has their story as well as health and wellness, how to take care of malama kekino, take care of your body. What are the signs of cancer that you would, you know, dictate right away or, you know.
Absolutely right, Auntie. I think these are really difficult times that we're living in. And I think there is now an increased awareness of mental health, well-being, wellness, cancer. So I really think the work that you do is really important and raising funds and raising money. You want to share with us too about your foundation and the work that you do, because I think we need to celebrate you as well and the work that you do.
Thank you. Well, I did get my 501c3 in July, and I sat on it for years because
Until now.
Shane asks people for money. You know, it's really hard. You know, like we're givers, and it's hard for me to ask.
Yes.
And so, hopefully, looking for grant writers out there and people like
I can
you
help.
that
I'll volunteer. I can
said that you would help me, and you know. You're gonna bring tears to my eyes, and my false eyelash is gonna pop off.
No, Auntie, you're beautiful.
I'm so blessed that
But definitely tell us about our foundation, how we can help, how can we contribute to your foundation.
Well, I'm looking forward in doing events that here in the property, or events that can bring people together to laugh and rejoice and start sharing with each other and making a difference in our community. And slowly we're going to do that little events here in the garden, because not many people have been here, and they're saying, where's your garden, where's your garden, you're talking about this garden, where is it, we want to come. So hopefully that we can do that, you know, bloom from within, you know.
It really is. This is so healing.
Thank you, and thank you for asking. I never had somebody just blatantly ask me like that, because shame. So I'm looking forward for a new year, a new adventure. I'm really looking forward to do this book that I've been sitting on for 15 years, and just making a difference, because the women that posed, a few have already passed, and I want their family and friends to just know who they were. Most of them have never disclosed to their families that they actually took off their clothes and posed that way. Some of them was just very modest, but they were in full swing of being that warrior to say, this is what we need to fight. This is what we need to do. So they lovingly just didn't hesitate when I asked them to pose for this book.
Yeah, and we will help you accomplish it. I think it's so important, such an important story. Like,
Thank you.
Where would we all be without our mothers? Where would we all be without our mother's breast, their breast milk nourishing us, giving us abundance, right? So that in itself is a metaphor from life and life-giving and how precious this is. So we should celebrate all of them. So we should really help Auntie accomplish her dream.
So what would be your message to the world out there, or the people, because of your many accomplishments, to your students about never giving up?
It's a lot, but in the essence of time, I will say that when people have asked me what my religion is, I've always said it's kindness. I think in these very discursive, bifurcated times that we live in, I think there's so many more things that unites us than divides us. Choosing to look at what divides us creates tribalism, petty warfare, and I think that if we looked to kindness, and what really unites us is the fact that we live, we breathe, we get ill, we fall sick, we die. And we should recognize that and make the best of our living years kindly and wisely. And I truly think that it starts right here, right from one person, and we can pay it forward.
I think that's amazing, and I believe in that too, because we're only in this journey once, and we have to make it the best that we can. Loving and caring, and really, because we're the people of Hawaii, be true to who we are. Yes. And this is paradise, and to truly say this is the land of aloha, and aloha is an action. So I say out to you there, be kind, be gentle, be loving, be caring. We're going through so much stuff in our life, but you know what? We can all continue to smile and say, I love you. Use that word very freely. I love you, because I do. Because love comes in many, many ways. I love my plants, I love my cat, I love my friends. Love is just universal. Just be loving and caring and kind. Dr. Loretta Chen, thank you. Oh, I love you more. I love you to the moon and back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for blessing us, for me to bless. Thank you for being our great sponsor and having a vision. Please join us. Please make comments. Please let us get to know you. Like, not only hit like, but write something that you are on this journey with us. And look out for all the giveaways, because we want you to be blessed. Thank you so much. Until then, aloha.